Welcome to the Casual Plateau. I've got another battle report for you today. I'm playing Spectacle of Spite against my friend Callum and his Grizzled Company Imperial Guard. I've put both lists in the description. Now, Callum is one of the people who got me into 40k. We've had a lot of games since I've been playing from last year, and he's got quite a big win streak against me. I was hoping I could get my own back in this game, but I did not. We're playing on Purge the Foe, Hammer and Anvil, on Games Workshop Layout 8. Going over deployments, Callum has deployed a mortar team on the right side of his deployment zone, and some field ordnance batteries on the left. Ursula Creed and some Cadians hold its home objective, and 3 Chimeras chock full of Kazakin, alongside 2 Leman Russ commanders and 3 Leman Russ tank variants, and a unit of Tempestus Scions in Deep Strike. Going over my deployment, I have a raider full of witches, ready to take my natural turn 1, and a unit of Dark Lance Scourge and a Kronos behind this footprint. 5 witches screen the centre and 5 more screen on the right side, and I have Lilith's raider and 2 Venoms nearby. A unit of 5 Hellions and 3 Reavers sit behind my central ruin, alongside a unit of Talos and another one on the right, ready to full send up the battlefield, and I have a squad of 5 Dark Lance Scourge and 2 units of Hellions in reserves. So we roll off, and I get the first turn. I draw a tempting target and Assassination, and my movement phase looks like this. I push 1 unit of Talos behind this middle terrain piece, staging up. The second squad on the right, I decide to advance onto this objective, which in hindsight was a big mistake. I like to sort of send my Talos full tilt at my opponent's lines as a sort of distraction, Khan effects, quote unquote. However, the Talos will end up being quite integral to taking down all of these tanks, and pushing them into the open early without being able to shoot ends up being quite pointless. So there's my first mistake. I push the Reavers up here using a pain token to move block these tanks, though I didn't cross into the footprint to avoid an overwatch. Though I think it would have been better to move block fully and just eat the overwatch, as this ends up being quite ineffective, so there's another mistake. On the left, I disembark 10 witches in the succubus from the raider and stand in this ruin on my natural expansion, which is another minor mistake sadly. I should have left them in the raider as I would be less vulnerable to indirect fire. So the rest of my units stage up behind ruins, and another thing I should have done here is push my 5-man Hellions over to my natural, but I did not. So we move into Callum's first turn. He draws Overwhelming Force and Tempting Target. I tempt him towards my natural expansion, and his movement phase looks like this. Now we can see more of the misplays sort of coming into fruition from my end. The Reavers could have moved blocked more to the left or to the right and been much more effective, as now his tanks can push the flanks and draw lines onto my Talos. Over his natural expansion, a squad of Kazakin hop out the Chimera to steal the objective, and at the end of Callum's movement phase, I use a challenge met stratagem to charge the now disembarked Kazakin. In Callum's shooting phase, I end up losing the unit of Talos on my opponent's natural, 1 of the 2 Talos in the middle, 4 out of 5 Scourges from this squad in the corner from mortars, and the field ordnance batteries wreck most of the witch squad on my natural, leaving only 3 or 4 witches in the succubus standing. At the start of the fight phase, the Kazakin pop their melter mine and blow up a Reaver, and then the Reavers fight, but they only kill 4 of them. The remaining Kazakin punch up a second Reaver in melee. We're heading into my turn 2, and I draw Storm Hostile Objective and Behind Enemy Lines. My mistakes are now fully visible here, and I've lost most of my anti-vehicle assets due to indirect fire and poor positioning, and due to these Hellions not pushing up, they aren't in the best position to counterattack this turn. My movement phase looks like this. The 5-man Hellions push out alongside my single remaining Scourge. 5 witches and the remaining witches being led by a succubus push out for charges. I push my last Talos out into the centre and a Venom stages. On the right side, I push Lilith and her witches after disembarking the raider up to my opponent's natural, ready to tear up the Kazakin. At the end of my movement phase, I deep strike in the squad of Scourges in the rightmost ruin, and 5 Hellions land around my home objective to screen for the Scions. In my shooting phase, I managed to take down a Chimera with the Scourges that dropped in, and my Talos chip 3 wounds off one of the tanks in the middle. In my charge phase, my 5 witch squad, my lonely Talos, and my remaining succubus-led squad charge in, and on the right side, Lilith's squad charge into the Kazakin. I managed to destroy nothing on the left, but Lilith on her own takes out the entire Kazakin squad, so maybe against Guard in the future I'll put her in a Venom instead, but that clears that objective for me. Heading into Callum's turn 2 now, he draws Extend Battle Lines and Establish Locus for his secondaries. And after issuing his orders, mostly move, move, move everywhere, his movement phase looks like this. His tank here falls back from my Talos onto the centre objective, and 2 tanks push up into my half of the board. Callum's Chimeras are locked up on the left, and at the end of the movement phase, I rapid ingress my 10-man Hellion brick out of line of sight here. In Callum's shooting phase, his indirect takes out all but 3 of the 10-man Hellions. My individual Scourge and Talos get wipes, and indirect fire also takes out my recently arrived Scourge in this ruin. My Venom in the centre gets destroyed, but none of the witches are hurt on emergency disembark. In Callum's charge phase, this Leman Russ variant charges into my witch squad and pops a tank shock to take down a bunch of them. On to my turn 3 now. I draw Extend Battle Lines and Display of Might for my secondaries, and my movement phase looks like this. My Morgana's Curse Succubus and her Witch Squad move into the centre to fight this Leman Russ commander, and my 5-man Hellion unit here moves over to my natural to fight this tank. My shooting phase is non-eventful, and then I charge in with both squads. Thanks to Morgana's Curse and the Succubus rerolling all hits and wounds against characters, alongside the lethal hit stratagem, I managed to bring this Russ commander down, but the Hellions fail to bring down this tank. Into Callum's turn 4, he draws Engage on all fronts and keeps Cleanse from last turn. Callum's movement phase is pretty quick, pushing his tank commander into the middle, and at the end of his movement phase he finally deep strikes his scions behind the central terrain footprint. In his shooting phase I basically lose all of my mid-board assets, and from here I'm basically tabled as Callum has full run of the board, and it leads to an overwhelming guard victory. Now, me and Callum have been playing 40k together for quite a while. This is his 9th win in a row against me, I think. Hopefully I'll get him one day, and I'm sure you'll be seeing more games against him on the channel. Thank you for watching this battle report. Please like and subscribe, maybe leave a comment, and thank you very much.